Okay, this is the special events committee meeting. It's Tuesday, July 8th, 2025, 2 p.m. And where's the CCFC meeting? This time I'd like to call the meeting to order and to verify attendance by a roll call. You want to start?
Amy Brevard.
Eugene Petrol.
Dorothy.
Deborah Reed. Sandy Gillespie.
Marco Mesa.
Allison Iskowitz. Nikki Patton.
Okay. We do have a forum, so.
And you have Carla online too.
Hey, Carla. Hope you're having a wonderful time wherever you are. Can you hear us okay?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. So jump in anytime.
Okay.
Is Nate there by any chance? Not yet.
Not yet, no.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to adopt the agenda. And do you want me to go ahead and add that out?
Sure.
Where would you like to add that?
If you want to do it right after E, before Holiday Fest.
Maybe they could add. Okay, we're gonna add the spooky soiree, just in case anybody has any thoughts, and you have a couple of thoughts too. I'd just like you to reiterate what you have to read. So I got that right.
Thanks for adding the dates.
Okay, so we'll adopt the agenda by adding the spooky soiree in there. Okay, great. At this time, I'd like to have a motion to approve the minutes. Motion to approve. We have a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, any comments? Any corrections or comments? Yeah, on D, on spooky soiree, and that was another one reason I worked out, but we can bring us in it too. We have 8 face painter. I think
We have two.
okay.
Yeah, I
two,
did too.
because one's never great, so but I thought I remembered that, and I thought, you better double check.
Yes.
Okay, and, we'll talk about that later. Okay, and, the one thing is on, that just made me laugh, but it says the committee is trying to redeem themselves from last year's performance. We weren't redeeming ourselves, and they sent us the wrong group. So, you know.
Oh, I see, for holiday concert.
I laughed, and I was like.
Do you want me to change the verbiage?
It's the verbiage, like, the committee will confirm next year the performers that we reviewed will be the actual performers. So that was part of the problem, right? And we didn't get, and the dancers, they were supposed to provide dancers, and they didn't provide dancers, right? We had to use our own dancers, so we just have to confirm that what we,
They can get what you think.
that we get, yeah, and that we were asking, remember when we talked about this, last month, is that the performers that we were seeing, what we saw were actually, like, say, that's the A team, we get the A team, we don't get the B team, because they went to Disney or somewhere, you know what I mean? So, yes,
I definitely called it out to her and said we would like exactly what we saw in the video.
very good, excellent. And then the other thing was, just to, well, I can get to that later, but, I just want to confirm, I think I'll wait until we get to that part, because I want to confirm in writing that a committee member can sell. It's approved, because in our code of conduct, there's an area that says that they have to be approved by the secretary. I just want to make sure that I don't get in trouble for that. And that's all I have. So, anything else? And so, anybody else have anything? Okay, so, all in favor then? As written with one little tweak? Aye. Okay. All right.
All right. Updates. I will give a few updates. Just a reminder, Food Truck Friday is this Friday, July 11th. We have DJ City Beat, so if you were downtown during the July 4th festivities, it's the same DJ that they had downtown. And those of you that visited the Great Lawn area for July 4th, if you notice at the very front, we have a brand new, beautiful digital A-frame that lights up and it changes screens, so that way at night, and it also plays music. So that way at night, we're able to display our sponsors as well as the schedule on it, so that is a wonderful addition. The Noir Productions contract was signed. They are coming on site on Monday to walk the Great Lawn to see if that spacing wise for the band will work. If not, I already spoke to Sean from Axis. We have him on standby just in case you do need to do the staging up here or whatever it may be. That's for Holiday concert. I do have a few story updates, but since now we have it here, I am going to hold off on those and we'll discuss them when we get there.
Okay, that's it for right now.
That's all for right now.
The past events,
So we had Food Truck Friday on June 13th. This was the first time that we actually utilized the basketball court since we did move it back to Lakeside. And it was fantastic. It really worked with pulling it all together into one cohesive event. And also the sponsors, they liked being right in front of the action with the DJ there because of course people walk by them, so they actually really liked that. As far as July 4th parade goes, we stepped off exactly at 8 a.m. The weather was fantastic. Everybody was fantastic. Everybody was on time. It really was a great day. We had 37 parade groups registered. The streets were lined despite what you might have seen on social media regarding the time of the 8 a.m. Yes, there was a lot of, yes, that's too early. However, there was a lot of people. A lot of residents, it definitely helped with the heat, so I think it was a really good change there.
I thought there were just as many positive, comebacks about the 8 a.m. start. For everybody who said it was too early, people chimed in and said no, it wasn't. So I kind of said,
Any other comments on parade?
I thought it was awesome.
It was wonderful. It was my first one, and we had an absolute ball. We loved it. It was great. I thought the timing was good too for the heat and all the other stuff. So.
Yeah, amazing. As far as the July 4th event went, the Great Lawn was insane. There was a whopping 2,046 attendees just in the Great Lawn area. Downtown, there was roughly about 10,000 guests. So really huge turnout. I think everybody showed up at the same time because I'm pretty confident we were the only July 4th event that did not get rained out. So, Disney Bubble. DJ Bubbles was really great on the lawn. Every single giveaway that we had, he was able to get rid of. Every vendor that I spoke with, as well as all the sponsors and stuff, they actually said that this was the most organized July 4th, smoothest that they felt that it's gone. So kudos to all of you guys for all of your input on that one. We ended up passing out a lot of bug spray to the residents as well as cooling towels on the lawn, and they loved that. It was a great little just surprise and delight that they loved. As far as the downtown area goes, for the inflatable area, that had probably the most amount of people at the entire, consistently at the whole event. So potentially for next year, we were maybe even thinking about charging for wristbands for those inflatables, just so that we probably make some sort of a profit off of that. But also maybe having some inflatables over for the residents only as well. So that's just some thoughts to throw out there. Anybody else want to chime in on the actual event itself?
I thought the band was great. I thought it was very well attended. I loved how many sheriffs there were. There was a lot of sheriffs around, so everybody felt safe. And as for the parade, we usually sit over where like the beauty shop is in Century 21. So that area looked a little not well attended, and as soon as I went around the corner downtown, it was like a mob. It was very, if you were in that area, I can see someone saying that there was a lot of people, but as soon as you went into downtown, it was jam-packed. I can't say anything negative about the whole day.
I was requesting the quantity of fireworks. Now, is that in our budget, and how do we do that?
Yeah, so I said the same thing too. I thought that the show was outstanding. A lot of people thought that we gave Disney a run for their money on the show. So pretty much how it works, we just give them the money and they actually come up with the show itself. So all the music they come up with, all of the actual pyro and how they get shot is all up to them. They just let us look at what the playlist is, and then we're just as surprised as you are on day of, so.
But we share the cost with.
Yes, yep, with
Just
Lexington.
Lexington? Just Lexington.
This year, we had a few more inputs on it, but Lexington does sponsor most part of it with us.
What was the final cost for both?
35,000.
For just the fireworks.
Yes.
Well, I can actually, some of the music was just not appropriate, but that's okay. They finally came up with a couple of patriotic kind of things.
Oh, yeah, they only have it recent, yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, we said for next year, we would like to work with the vendor on like, this is the track that we're interested in doing, and if they could just run with it. Because this year they picked the songs for us, and I noticed like Star Wars, the APT song, like there was a few songs where I'm like, oh, this is interesting too, so. But I can tell you, the kids downtown, they were all bobbing, they're all excited for some music, even if it wasn't patriotic.
What was the music and the fireworks conflicting with what was happening downtown?
No, so that was worked out, so how that works, we were on a three-way call where one of the pyro techs were over downtown, and we were on the phone while I was standing with the DJ, and we did a countdown, and we all, as soon as she said go, both DJs pressed the button, and it was.
So it's the same music?
Same
Same
music.
music, same time.
Oh yeah, same show, same everything.
Yeah, we had team members, I was by the stage and you were by Lakeside, we would just confirm with each other, you hearing this song, and it was identical, so.
We were able to break everything down that night.
Yes, we did.
Well, I wasn't here, I was on assignment, and I'll share that with you later on another 4th of July I did. That's what I say. I'm gonna say it when we get down to the other review, because I have the good, the bad, the ugly. I thought firework crime show. So that was interesting. Okay, so let's move on to the expo.
Yes, registrations just recently opened for
The date of
vendors,
that
September 20th.
Oh, shoot, I'm sorry.
and it's where?
It'll be down at Lakeside. As of now, we only have 3 vendors registered and 1 food truck for it. We did change it up just slightly in the sense of the prime locations that vendors can choose to be at. We raised the price a little higher to be closer to the front since everybody was fighting over being in the first few, so we just raised it a little bit. And then the further back you go, the cheaper the price gets. Next year, we were hoping to switch on and off since it is our 30th to add part of our 30/30 to replace it with a health expo. What are our thoughts on that? How do you feel?
Like an example.
Like, kind of like, I don't know if you've ever been to like the Run Disney Inside Expo where they have, you've got the smoothie bike that people can make their own smoothies. You've got the Hoka shoes. You've got health and wellness and that kind of stuff.
Like
So
you
it's-
could do like sessions on the stage and stuff where it's like yoga, they can kind of like teach you like kinesiology, movement of the body. But we would invite all of our recreational partner programs. The home expo is becoming a little bit dry, just hearing the reviews, and we wanted to go with another cornerstone, which was health. So that's why we wanted to switch it up, doing a health expo.
Yeah, and I think too, after this one, you have a better indication.
Mhm.
Just a question too, on our last meeting, back in October, it said the committee suggested lowering, now I like what you're doing. I like that idea of bringing the front ones, charging more, but said the committee suggested lowering the price for vendors to participate next year. That was number one. So I like the idea where we're going with that, is in the front you get, but overall, we were saying that maybe the reason why people didn't come is because we charged them too much.
Right.
So how are you gonna, how can we make that work with doing what you want, but yet not having the prices so high that we,
So we set it up with like 3 different tier systems essentially. So there's 3 different price points that will fit in everybody's budget. And the typical, what we've seen, the typical price for something like this, for a vendor fee for this, is that $250 range. But instead we did the 300, $250, and $200. So we're gonna see kind of how that one goes. We're also, because this is part of the Experience Kissimmee grant too, so I think it's really just about marketing it in that sense on our end for CROA about those tier systems as well, because as of right now, everybody kind of thinks it's the same tier system and maybe not everybody really knows about it. So we will start pushing that, the price point.
I am concerned, though, that the prices are too high, only because we only have 3 so far, and we only have August, we only have 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, I will say we haven't really put anything out on social yet, just because we've been so wrapped with July 4th, but we are meeting with Jennifer to start deciding and making that calendar of this is how, things are gonna get pushed and what has importance and things. So we were actually just talking to her today about it. So we will start getting that push out there, and I know once it gets a little bit closer to it, we will start getting those numbers back up, because I still have to even send out the outreach from everybody from last year.
Okay. I mean, it'll be what it is. Last year, we only had 22 vendors total, I think that's what we thought. So, it's cutting it close, and I don't know how, I don't know if you reduce it and you get more people, or you think it's not gonna make a difference. I don't know.
But what's funny is the 3 that registered all chose the prime spots. So, I mean, they didn't say anything, and there were people from last year as well.
Okay. Also, just wanted to check with you, also, we had talked about, next year changing it to a springtime. I just wanted to say, maybe keep that in the back of our minds, if we did it in the springtime. How do you think I don't think for a health expo it matters so much, but why did you guys anybody recall why we said to move it springtime?
Maybe attendance wasn't what we wanted it to be.
I mean, it's not something we have to decide now, but I couldn't remember why we said that. But it's something,
Because home ones are usually in the fall, home ones are usually in the spring.
but was it too much going on? Were they too busy? I don't remember. Does anybody
I know, I was looking back through my notes to see if I wrote anything down, but, because that's it, is that we don't have enough vendors, or we don't have enough people coming to see the vendors. Yeah.
So just something to think about, if we wanted to, we'd have to push on that, but I like the idea. Was anybody else like any other idea about the expo, health expo? I think it's a nice idea to change it up.
Yeah.
We may find it, it's just like, boom,
Yeah.
So if that's a thing that, I'm not saying we're doing both of them. But pick one. I think the idea of changing it up is really good. Because I think if we don't get a lot of people, we'll definitely say, hey, definitely. But even if we did, I still think it's time to change. I think it's a great idea. You guys seem to have the energy and the direction, so that's, I think, a win-win. But just to think about, if you would like to do it in the spring, do we have the time? So and so forth.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, that's all I have. Anybody else?
I'd like to volunteer to help you get vendors on that.
Oh, that's perfect. We love that.
Did you ever have the Christmas light vendor? Did you ever see how many people get their houses done with a Christmas light vendor?
Yeah, that's good.
Good idea.
That's a great point.
Well, if anybody else has any other ideas, send it over there to Alex and Nikki to add. Again.
So I'm volunteering, you have to call me.
We'll schedule
Okay, Island Village concert in the park, fall of 2025. Now, we know we talked about this last time, about having in the rock the block type of thing.
Mhm. We do have a tentative concert in the park scheduled as of now, just thrown on our calendar for October 5th. So that is a date that is open, that we could potentially do this as part of concerts in the park.
What day did you say? I'm so sorry.
October 15th.
Okay, thank you.
Because I know we usually do dueling pianos on the 15th, but.
Where in the park?
Where? So we could work with the, what is it, the Colburn? Whatever that apartment complex is over there. So we could work with them. We could also work with Island Village Elementary with their parking lot, because it's right next to it. So you've got, those two options, and I'm sure they would be open to it, but we didn't go as far into that because I know we were still dabbling on the idea of it first. So I think we need to decide if this is a direction we want to try to go in for it, or if it's not.
So, but what, is it the big grassy knoll park? or-
So if you
Is it
go
directly across the street where?
from tacos, there's like a lanai, now they put chairs there, but there is a nice lanai there that you could put, the performers there, and some of our high tops without chairs, you can
How
put a
many
few
people
with
could we
chairs.
accommodate?
What do you think? How many people?
I would say no more than 60. It would be a small, unless we close off the street, I know there's concerns with closing off that location, but if you made it more of a street party and put a stage out there, we looked at the smaller, pavilion areas, so we could add little vendors there or sponsors. You can easily put sponsors underneath those little columns. But probably your best luck is closing half of the street, so if they're coming down, they can either go right, or if they're coming up by Don Andreas to your right, they go to the left. So there's still a way to get in and out, it's just gonna be a little bit traffic detour.
No, that's on a Tuesday night?
The 15th, and
It's not typically too busy over there, Tuesday night.
it's a Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday?
How about the bathrooms? We can use
Tacos at DeAndre's already said okay, and,
Yeah, we give you our two.
It's 60 people?
Well, that's if you use the lanai.
Did we find out about, go back and, you were gonna review the bathroom situation?
Well, we went and talked to all the restaurant owners.
No, I'm saying if we go back over to the big grassy knoll, which we could accommodate more than 60.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was like $1,500 or $1,800 if it's, portable, if not coming in a trailer of 4. Is that right?
yeah.
So it was like $1,500 to $1,800. Try to do some training, but
Well, if you did it on a weekday, you could at least have them drop them off and pick them up the next day versus on the weekend, we couldn't have them pick them up right away. Oh, do they have a board out there? Do they have they don't have a
Committee.
They don't have who would you go to get permission to put porta potties back, basically?
Well, if it's on private property, we don't need permission, but we may have to ask DCDD, depending on the location that you guys are referring to. Or we can also talk with Brooklyn.
Because, I mean, even if you got just one, I mean, I guess, would you have to have two? Two?
I would at least have 2 for an event, because you also need ADA restrooms.
So $1,500 to $1,800 to put it out there, that way, but I like your idea of putting them in the vendors. I mean, if you wanted to have under those, I'm talking about those other ones out there. But this is where we were thinking about doing the movie, remember? But there may at least be more room. Yeah.
This is one of the first events we're doing out there too, right? So I feel like whenever we do, we should make sure it's.
So do you think it would be better, again, I think personally have mixed feelings on whether you do it where the food, where the restaurants are, which is what our initial thought was. But if you only have 60 people, that's gonna be a problem. How do you turn people away?
Yeah, that's in order to keep them safe, like over on the sidewalk.
Right.
If you have more, that's just our issue, you're gonna have just a sidewalk completely blocked off, and we don't wanna do that.
Do we have to call the fire department at all to see, make sure we stay within the restrictions or?
It would just be about street closure.
See, I would think that we'd have to put like a sheriff on either end of the street to block it, you know, because I wouldn't want someone barreling through there and that'd be an
Yeah,
issue.
that's our new, unfortunately, our new normal is we stick the sheriff car at the entry points to any of the events.
So, I don't know.
What do you think the residents would find most appealing? I don't live out there into the restaurants and stuff, but
Yeah, I mean, they want events. All the ones I've talked to have said they really want events over there. They want to be able to walk to it and stuff like that. So I think they're open to anything. I was thinking the clubhouse for some reason because it's a little bit off the main street, but that little pond area that's right there, lake area that's right there, how many could we get there instead of on the main road?
It's almost the same size. The problem is, I think we were saying since we would essentially have the pool open at that point, but it closes at a certain time, you know? So one, we wouldn't be able to utilize the restrooms in the clubhouse because you can't go in the clubhouse if you're wet.
Yeah.
But then it's like when the pool does close, well now what?
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. What about the elementary school, doing it there?
Like inside the
The parking lot, yeah, because that's like, you know, wouldn't close down anything. It would still be walking distance, or the Nevs that are over there in Island Village. We're starting to see more over there that are starting to drive in Island Village. I don't know, maybe that would be a good,
The pool area has no parking.
yeah,
And when everybody gets home from work, there's no parking.
yeah,
So that would be the only problem with that. I
true,
mean, it's a great area,
yeah,
there's no parking.
yeah, absolutely.
And the same thing with the park you're referring to, it's great park, but there's no parking there either.
And same thing
Everybody parks
with
on the streets and there's.
same with the pool and the clubhouse. So, I mean, we're not checking any boxes here. As a matter of fact, I think we have more negatives than,
Well, I think that's why we were trying to, if we use the Lanai, we were thinking of like a smaller event, like a pop-up, like talent show. You could potentially put like a little movie there, but it'd have to be a pop-up. Like you would have to just advertise it less than a month. Like that's how we do our pop-ups. Because if you advertise it for more than 2 or 3 months, or for 2 or 3 months, you're gonna get more participants that way.
but, and, go ahead, Martha.
If you're looking to do something inside the pool, we can go to Olimon for the principal, use the fields behind the gates, the gate rig, we can control the access, use the restroom, also order for more restrooms, and put the PTO together, talk to Dara, and we have the school, the parents, and everybody supporting it. We can easily put over there like 120, 150 people, if needed. There's a big field over there. It's not good, but
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's hard when we're getting away from the whole purpose was to introduce the downtown.
so maybe starting with a small event might be the way to go, is then we can measure and see if there's a lot of interest, and then move into a bigger, you know, area where we have to rent backwards for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's almost, you know, you start big and nobody shows up, it's kind of like, but I think if you start small, it's a little more
I just
successful.
suggest the field on the back because we're talking about that in the village, elementary schools, if we do it over there. Instead of in the parking lot, I recommend to do it inside, it's already gate read, so it's easy to do control desks and everybody inside. If you plan to do in the island village, elementary school, I suggest to do inside, not in the parking lot.
Okay, what about, this is out of the box, what about, because we're running into a lot of issues, like blocking the street, blocking restrooms, not having restrooms, we're using the school, not using the school. What if we were to have a concert in the park at Lakeside, but the vendors there would be the vendors from Island Village?
You could. The only thing I could see them being a little weary of is if this is their first big intro to us, like the residents and things like that. One, you run into the problem like, well, their food's not gonna be as fresh as they would hope it would be. Or you get the, well, we ran out and now we don't have a way to get all the way back over there, to get back over here. So that's my only concern with trying to do it that way. I do love that idea because I actually thought about that myself. But that's the only concern I could see with that is if, you know, they're not gonna be proud essentially of what they're putting out there.
Have the taco place or anybody else have a suggestion on their own, say, hey, we'd like to do this or that? I mean, have
So we just went over there to chat about having it over there specifically and they were all for it. I think they really just want to be involved in some sort of way. So what exactly that looks like, I'm not sure.
So maybe ask if they can transport. The other thing is to do, go with like an open house and not come, you know, get a little tree up there that we've had, place them on the sidewalk, do nothing, don't set up anything and just say, the downtown is having an open house. There'll be live music, stop by for a taco or ice cream or coffee and just do an open house thing and forget this structured thing. I mean, again, it's just another suggestion.
I like
So like
that idea, because the one thing about having something lakeside, it doesn't address the needs of the local people in Island Village. You just want to be able to walk downtown and have a little event. So I like the idea of keeping something small to kind of get events kicked off there.
Then they can get a few of, you know, people coming out there and just saying, do it, you know, you could advertise it really cool and say, hey, you know, call it something, Island Village, whether you want to do a pop-up something, but Island Village, stop downtown and, you know, explain what they have. You can even, you know, whether you started it in the morning for a coffee and you have a person playing music there and then at 5 o'clock, set it up for the other 2 or 3 or 4 places, I don't know how many are out there. And just have it for, like an open house. And then, but it still brings the spotlight to them. And then we don't have to do we don't have to pay for sheriffs necessarily. It's just going to be a meet and greet. Meet your new, a stroll.
Most of them are, especially the top place, they want people to know they're there.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing for us, is nobody knows where they, I mean, they kind of do now, but like at first, that was the biggest thing, like, where are you? Are you at Publix? Like, what's Island Village? Like, even residents didn't know, and I'm like, but they send out Friday Flash and all these different things, you know. I'm like, how do you not know?
You can do sort of I don't want to say an all-day thing, but like a morning thing, so it's coffee, although they can still be participating in the evening. But, you know, having something of a form of something.
How about like an art walk?
Yeah. It just have as like a stroll.
There's gotta be some kind of
Well, the Women's Club, the Celebration Women's Club, we're doing a chocolate stroll at Island Village and Celebration Point on Saturday, October the 11th. So it's just before this. It's like a little fundraiser that we're doing and stuff. And so we're gonna.
The thing is, they want people to know they're there. So if you advertise them, open house for Island Village, whatever you want to call it, huh?
No, maybe,
What?
maybe too, they would be, like, each place would be open to having something that they're offering that they wouldn't normally offer on the regular, like to have like a taste of, you know, like a bite size of something, or, right, that you can only get, during that time.
What's your biggest part of your day? On the weekend, what's the biggest hours?
In the evening for us, because for ice cream, we're more dessert, so 7 to 9 is our
So
business.
do an
When do
evening
you talk about having
within a
this?
certain period of time.
When?
When are you talking about doing this possibly?
October 15th.
When does the sun go down
Absolutely,
Yeah.
but it's starting to go down, so you do 6 to 8, because, are they into 8?
I'm there open late.
Oh, yeah, they're open late. Yeah. The coffee shop closes first. I think the coffee shop closes at 7 maybe. But the Mexican restaurant's like open later than us. We're open till 9, so.
Hopefully they'll stay open for the event.
I think they would, yeah, they're very hospitable.
But I think that she's saying, he's saying the main thing is that they want to be highlighted. So we're gonna put the spotlight on them, even if you call it spotlight on Island Village or something like that.
I'm just confused, does that mean Island Village is doing their own arrangements for things to do what we're trying to talk about?
Yeah, we're just picking up the event for the advertising for it. And then they do each restaurant, are there 3 restaurants? Is it 3 things?
Three.
Shop, ice cream, and tacos.
Yeah, and then there's the barber shop there, and then the apartment community, and then beside us is getting ready to be like a little gym or my gym.
Well, I'm spot, when are they opening?
I don't know yet.
Well, the barber shop too, include them and just say a spotlight on Island Village.
That's what they're,
And they'll be prepared for it. And then I would provide some sort of music or entertainment for it.
Okay.
Island music, Island music in Island Village. Come meet your whatever.
Neighbors.
Can I cut in? I don't,
Yeah.
and I hate to be the jerk here, but I don't know why it has now become the Special Events Committee's job to promote Island Village. I don't get it. We're not promoting Celebration Point. We're not promoting all the other villages. I'm really confused by this. Our job is to promote special events for the whole community. And yes, if it brings us out there, it does, but it seems like we're trying to promote things that are not in our realm. And I hate to be the jerk, but it just seems like we're spending a lot of time on something that really isn't in our lane. So that's just what I got to say. It just seems that we're going down a road that I think is bad. I mean, because now I live in South Village. I want something there. You know, I don't know. It just seems like we are moving down the wrong track. And all of a sudden, this has become a thing. Last meeting, it was a thing. This meeting, it's a thing.
I hear you. I don't necessarily disagree with some of your points, and that's why I said I sort of want to circle back around and say we can promote it, but at the same time, those folks that run these businesses need to participate in it. It's going to be their show, but we can help promote it. But I think that, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but, this is brought to us and, we're just trying to help, highlight it. Do you guys have anybody have any thoughts?
I will say that this is something that was actually brought up to begin in 2026 with Kanoa as well, because we were wanting to include every village in something special like this. So it would be, over at North Village, having a little pop-up or doing the parties in a box, so to speak. So it's just the first talk about the first one to introduce, I guess, to see how it goes. But it is not singling out any village in particular. It's just getting it started, because if it is really successful, can you imagine what we can do at the other villages, or whether it's at the pool, whatever we decide it is later on. But I do see where you're coming from, Carla.
Yeah.
We have to do with also, I believe it's nice to promote Island Village as a neighborhood, because there's several, it's a huge number of residents don't even know that Island Village exists.
No, I hear you. I mean, I think that they're all good points. My biggest concern is budget. I mean, that's my biggest concern, is that whether we have the budget to do any of this extra things that we want to do, especially next year. And the thing I don't want to see us do is, I know we're gonna do that for one event next year, but we don't wanna water down our events so that they're like, wah, wah, wah. When we want each event to have impact and we have the funds to produce what we want to, otherwise it doesn't make any sense. So, more thoughts?
And, being a newer resident celebration, the community has grown quite a bit. So, I think it's very fair, even what Carl was saying, we're not there to promote the business, but maybe offer some entertainment around an event for the businesses.
Perhaps let them get together and say, we'd like to do, maybe wait till the June, I don't know. And then say, and then we can promote it, if we throw a few dollars that way to do a band or something, an island calypso guy out there playing, that's, something that we can do. But,
I know Jacob's online. Jacob, do you want to chime in on anything?
Thank you. Yeah, can you hear me?
yeah, you're good.
Okay. I would like to say, it's a good thing to bring up. It's good that we start conversations like this. And it's important to focus on what is the main driver of its intent and purpose, because that is really where it's going to separate on, is it a valid event to do something in Island Village, or is it not a valid event? If it's about engaging with the residents and using the amenities that we have out there, being the Magnolia Park, being the amenity center, utilizing those facilities, that can make sense. If the driver is about the businesses out there, then that is probably an improper use of running an event out in Island Village. It sounds like these ideas, and we keep bringing it up in a creative way, that it is to be in a benefit for the residents and to possibly bring other residents out to Island Village, not just an event for that specific village because they're out, on the outskirts. So as long as I think it's, focuses on whatever we do out there has the right intent and stays grounded in that, it is, definitely something to keep looking into. Now, I will also add, as we start talking about this, and I've heard you're mentioning the restraints we have on why we keep struggling on holding an event out there. We are expecting around middle of next year. I can't hold firm on this date, but around the middle of next year, we'll be accepting the turnover of our new amenity center out there, which has a large playground, a large pool, and some different interactive space. So there is some possibilities that we can use that facility for more of these types of events in the short future.
There's going to be another pool besides the one that's out there?
Yes.
Yes. And phase 2, which is going to be at the very end of Celebration Boulevard, just past the phase 2A that they're building right now.
Well, so I guess we kick this can down the road.
So maybe, I agree. Thank you, Jacob. At least we started the conversation. If this is something we want to start doing with moving things around for 2026, maybe to introduce for the 30-30, maybe that would fit in at that point. But it seems like especially for something as soon as October at least, way too soon.
Too soon.
So we can table it if you're okay with that, and then maybe we visit.
All the businesses are in, I didn't know there were more opening.
Just one, yeah, just one.
So with that said, we do have a tentative.
Why instead of us doing this, it's gonna cost funds, why does an Island Village get together, the businesses, and get a page in the Celebration magazine and say, put a little map and say, we're open, type of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I believe we started doing full pagers or something on highlighting the businesses out there. Every month had a different business to highlight in there, so we have been doing that.
But if there's 3, you go 1, 2, 3, and this is one, put a little map and say,
I
Come
can
see
shed
us.
a little light on that. So what you're referencing, Allison, is the business spotlight, which is to spotlight the Kanoa business entities. Now, typically those can include full property owners. So let's say even when you're downtown, it's one, or actually it's two business owners, both being Lexan. Then the shops at Water Tower, it's one business owner that owns that. Out in Island Village, it would be the owner of the apartment building itself, and then its tenants inside of that. That's what that spotlight is designed for, but it is always encouraged that anyone that wants, and there's always extra advertising space if anyone wants to buy additional advertisement, and they can work through our communications team to even receive discounts for those articles in the magazine.
Yeah, well, that's what I was getting at, is to have the three businesses that are out there take a page out and advertise in the short term, that they're open and that come see us and they're at a happy hour or giveaway or whatever, they can announce it for a specific day or something, and then we can, when we have a bigger space because I guess part of the issues in the past with having Island Village, open houses where it's just Island Village, this becomes a problem. They want, what about everybody else? So we can maybe just wait a little longer till the place is open that you're talking about, Jacob, that maybe makes more sense. And again, maybe not. Maybe not. So I think we pause and revisit at another time. Okay? All right, let's move on. We stuck in spooky soiree here.
So just some updates on that. We do have a brand new cotton candy, specialty cotton candy company that actually reached out wanting to get involved in our event. So they are actually booked, they paid the vendor fee, and then we also have one food truck. Actually, we have two food trucks. We have pizza and then stuffed surfer, so two totally different food items for them to sell. I did reach out to Kilwins. I have not received a response regarding the caramel apples. I gave them a couple of options on whether it was just coming out to sell them or whether it was a little station that they provide some sprinkles maybe, or whatever it may be, to see how involved they wanted to be with it, but still kind of waiting on that. All the inflatables and the two face painters are booked, so that's golden. And then we're in the process of looking at something, an additional offering for a DJ, because I know we are partnering with X Factor Dance to do a little monster mash. So we're kind of finalizing all of those items as well.
I just wanted to reiterate, our attendance last year was almost 2,500 people. So we just want to make sure we're covered on different things. What's our number now? We are having food trucks.
Yep, they paid our vendor fees.
Who?
There's a pizza one, it's in Italian, so I cannot pronounce it. And then Stuffed Surfer, who does like the hamburgers and the hot dogs. And then, we have the cotton candy vendor. And then, Scoops will be doing free ice cream for sponsorship.
Okay, and, let's see, okay, so we're gonna have tables and chairs set out up on the lawn, because we have a band.
Yeah.
And then in reviewing something from the past, I saw, actually, it's one of you two, I think, suggested moving the tables towards the front where the tables and chairs are, the food to the front. So we had talked about this for this, and I think Holiday Fest, to make sure that our food and chair are in the same vicinity. We can have other ones set up, like the ice cream or the drinks or whatever, hot chocolate, whatever. But it was suggested they're too far away, so to keep them close. Let's see, anybody else have anything else?
We were also going to have an additional offering that I don't think we've had yet. It's called Holes to Go. So they would bring putt-putt out as an additional offering for residents to be able to play putt-putt if they don't want to do bounce houses. They set up 9 holes and the company runs it and they kind of take it on. So they can do it anywhere, whether it's a parking lot, grass area, wherever they want to do it. And we can obviously theme it to the spookiness of it as well, so.
Can they do like glow lights or anything?
I know,
That would make sense.
And then we can also utilize our blow-up inflatable things that we have in place in between. Just kind of make it a little bit more of a fun, additional spooky offering versus just.
Charging them to do the putt-putt or whatever?
No, it's just be all included in this, yeah.
Could I back up to the entrance, was it the luau we did? Okay. We had issues with who we were letting in, meaning one kid would have, these 4 friends, I don't even know their names, but these 4 coming with me, they're my guests. Even if we just charge $1 per guest, it might slow that down. And also, when we're doing something at Lakeside, if we could close the pool, not good, close the pool and close the basketball and the tennis. Because people would walk by and say, oh, I'm still playing tennis, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So it was pretty loose.
Yeah.
I'll chime in for that, so we did pass along a recommendation as a committee to even close for 4th of July early and it got denied. So that's, yeah. So we can provide a recommendation, but overall.
They said no.
They said no.
Well,
Thanks for trying.
we made over our $500, was it $600 by charging at the spooky soiree for 118 or 120 guests, which we paid the $4, anything over 4, you pay $5. That is a problem.
But it wasn't so much the adults, it was the kids who were, well, I don't have an ID, but this is my dad's on the phone.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we'll accept it. And these are my 4 friends, they're all complaining. It just got so, what are the rules here? What are we trying to enforce? So that's just my take on it. And I do like the fact that we did have a bike, no bike thing.
Yeah.
Sign up there, and hopefully
Well, we
that.
already have the basketball courts closed.
Yes, that's one, because that's where the monster.
But the other thing is that having the pool open and you're having all these kids there, I mean, like I said, almost 2,500 people last year. To me, we have to open the bathrooms. I mean, but we don't want the pool open because we don't want them to be able to get into the pool. So if somebody sends, their child with a card or otherwise, the pool for safety, being this is a children event, children families, for the safety, it should be closed at whatever time this event opens.
Right, and the reason why we got away with closing the basketball court is we said we do throw safety's our number 1 thing, but when we say we're trying to put a DJ or tables and chairs, we can't have kids playing basketball because we're gonna get hurt. If they deny the pool closure, another option we can do is have 2 staff members. It's honestly a waste of time, but on the pool deck. So if people try to go out or on the pool deck, if they're not the appropriate age, sorry, you have to have pool attire to be on the pool deck, or hey, you gotta go back outside for the event. So we could potentially have 2 staff members monitoring the bathrooms, and that can also help with the cleaning of the restrooms, especially if we're expecting 2,500 residents and guests.
Do you think because of the time of the year being later and being a little cooler that they would let us close down the pool? Because it's in October versus July, maybe?
I'm not entirely sure. I think it was the concern of 4th of July, people like to do like pool, not pool parties, but like enjoy the fireworks of viewing it from the pool deck. So it may help, it would be great if it was cold that night, that we could close early. But that's something as a committee, you could do a recommendation and we could once again pass it to the board. Maybe we could bring it to a workshop and have some committee members attend that workshop to help explain it to the board with us as management.
Well,
So-
what time does it start again? I forget.
They sit on.
Well, I'm just asking to close it at 6. What time what do they usually close?
It's
Dusk?
Well, it's gonna close at 8 o'clock. After Labor Day, it closes at 8 o'clock.
Okay, so we're just asking for another closure of the pool for the safety and well-being of children and families. And I get saying leaving it open for 4th of July.
Right.
I can see that, but for this, they're not gonna have a whole overabundance anyhow. But I would, mine is for the bathrooms, to have the bathrooms to be open and shut down by the pools. Pool locked to get into the pool. But let the bathrooms be open, because that's a lot of people.
Or what we could possibly do is, if, I'm just going by, just in case they say no, different options that we have in our back pocket. So the staff members, 1, 2, potentially, we just lock the pool, restrooms on the inside. So if a resident still needs to use a restroom, it's gonna be a pain if they're on the pool deck, they just gotta go outside and go through the outdoor doors.
Well, that's fine too.
So
As long as
there
we
could be
get
2
down
different
on
options.
the inside, that's the main thing.
Right.
And
It's gonna impact so few people.
It's gonna impact-
You know, like,
But I still think I still say we do the charging, Debbie.
Yeah,
Can I say something? I was at the last board meeting that it was brought up, or one of the board meetings.
Okay.
And also the workshop. And Marco, you can correct me on this, but the way that it was presented was that the pools would all close on 4th of July. And I don't think it was really brought to their attention that you were just trying to close up at Lakeside because of the problem with children and everything. I think if you go there with just one, and really, really make it a whole, make them understand what you're trying to do. Not, because this is a children's event, basically. And you don't need to be using staff time for you guys to be standing there. That's just, even if you put a volunteer there, that's not gonna work either. But I think that was the main thing, because I saw that the eyes like, and there was conversation like, we're not shutting down all these pools.
Right. And it's almost dark
Yeah.
out. Appreciate that feedback. It's almost dark out anyhow. But going back to fees, I still think we do a fee of our normal fee schedule, where you are allowed 4 guests, and if any guest above 4 is a $5 charge for non-residents.
Yeah, if that's something that we're interested in, this is the best time, because I have to submit the August information for the magazine. So I would love to include that, save the date. After your 4th guest, it is $5, because I'm trying to get the word out as quickly as I can, if there is a fee. Because I know we kind of have pushback, management as well as like volunteers at the front saying, why do I have to pay? So, or people saying that they didn't have enough notice, so the earlier I can get it out, the better, for the residents.
Do you want to vote on it? I mean, let's vote on the pool, making the recommendation that the pool closes at 6 p.m.
The Lakeside.
The lakeside closes 2 hours early at 6 p.m. Just to ensure that the inside doors are locked to the pool, basically. And if they want to come up with another plan, and come up with another plan, that's fine. But basically, we want the inside doors locked and the entry doors unlocked. All in favor?
Who's first? Okay, first, motion and second.
A motion, I make a motion to what I just said. Second?
A second.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor? All right, second. $5 charge per non-resident or per guest, which one do you want it to be? Are we doing it after? It has to be after the fourth guest, there's a $5 charge. It doesn't matter.
So they can bring 4 guests free?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? And then if they have 6 guests, those other 2 people?
$5.
And we did this, I'm trying to remember the last event, because I think moving forward, big events, we should keep it similar, so that it happens every time.
Well, we did it-
We're not dealing with,
Right.
oh, am I paying here? And-
We did it for the spooky soiree, that's why we were
Okay.
raising the fees. Fun.
But maybe like Aloha, the Hop, you know, all of those.
To make it.
Yeah.
Keep it consistent.
Oh, okay, I'm still confused, I'm sorry. Can a husband bring 4 guests and a wife bring 4
Per
guests?
card, basically it's per card, I think.
It's
Yeah.
per
So you
card.
each have your own card, so you can each bring it. We're not gonna be collecting $25 bills.
That's what we did last year.
It just seems to me $5 is pretty
It's too
minimum.
hard.
Why not all?
But if we have no way to do per household, it really would be nice to do per household. Because if we do it on, if we have the technology and they can do it, I have 4 guests, they do, do their card against the thing, the code, and then they say, 4 guests, and then the next one does it, says, well, I'm gonna do, and then you go, no, it's per household. Your husband can get per household, but we have no way of identifying that, so it basically has to be individuals standing there, unfortunately.
Why don't we just make it $5 for every guest?
After 4.
No, every guest.
It's against the code.
It's pretty general.
It worked before.
Would it help our budget? I don't know how many guests we're talking versus.
We had
residents.
117 guests last year.
Because so many.
So we made it.
It was $575, that was what was.
And not
Dory,
only children guests, you're not gonna collect, but for adult guests.
It looks like you charged every guest last year. So it's, the one before you had up to 4 guests. So it wasn't after 4 guests you would charge, it was, you can pay up for 4 guests per ID. For $5 each.
I
That's,
think we did it though the other way once. I'm almost positive for another event we did it, not that we have to debate it, but I know for a fact we did it. Yeah, the 5th guy.
I think we have to keep it simple, so if we kind of go back and forth every year.
Okay, what's that?
So this says you can invite up to 4 guests per ID card, but every guest has to pay. So if you're a resident, like if we're both in the same household, I need to bring my ID card. If Allison doesn't, she has to pay $5.
That is accurate, because we were saying there were so many guests, and how can we?
Okay, so go back,
Residents.
So Nikki comes in with her ID card, and you have, how many guests?
Let's say I have 3, bring 3 in.
$15. So you pay 15?
15, yeah, I pay 15.
Because they're not residents.
Yeah.
But we don't know that.
But they have to have their card.
Yeah, then they're residents.
You'd buy bucks.
So it also said, children under the age of 12 who reside in the household and who are accompanied by a Pro ID holding resident may enter free of charge. So you wouldn't have to worry about the kids, because they're with mom and dad or a relative. So,
Kids bringing kids.
yes, that's the issue, yeah.
So I think if we stay with that and use it consistently in events, then at least people will get used to it.
I don't think $5 is enough to hold people from bringing guests. I think it's a good way to handle it, but I don't think it's so extraordinary or exorbitant. But it doesn't say, well, I can't bring guests to my house, and you can go $5 each one. I think just make it across the board.
Yeah.
But the guest has to be with a resident,
Yes, right, yeah.
not just anybody walking in for $5.
Right, yeah, that's good.
And very fair, these are resident events.
We're not paying for every guest.
And I would suggest for this event, if we are moving forward with this, I would suggest if we do hire 2 cops, which we will with Premier, you have 1 cop specifically stationed at the front, because there's gonna be issues.
Oh, no, I was at the front.
Yeah.
Well, I also have. And you're not having more than 4.
Correct, you can bring up to 4 guests per ID card. But each
So,
guest has to pay.
Right, the 5th and 6th guests can't come in.
They can't, no.
Not unless they're with another person.
Yeah, if they have 2 ID cards, They could bring 8 guests, so up to $40.
Very convoluted.
Well, yeah, I know, but I have, this is what I have, no more than 4 non-resident guests per house.
Because what makes the soiree, why is this the only event where we're doing that? I think that's the part that's gonna get frustrated for residents, and that's why I got screamed at last year.
Well, the part of the problem is when we do reserved tables, it's different, because they could, because I have no more than 4 non-resident guests per house. Keep in mind, this relates to the current resolution and may change, are allowed on any given occasion unless a scheduled event, party. The scheduled event includes celebrating Crows, Lifestyle, or CCS event. The number of guests per event will be determined by the Lifestyle Management Team and/or Special Events Committee. Guest fees may apply. Guest admittance and fees may fluctuate and be determined by venue capacity, type of event, location, and resident enhanced offering. No more than 4 per guest member scheduled to. So I'm just saying. Well, if you post it, then it would be 4, no more than 4 guests. You have to pay for the guests. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's what it says.
Okay, not up to 4 guests,
And they
something
pay
about children under a certain age.
Under 12, yeah, there's number 12, it's free.
And that's what you did last year too?
That's what we did
And
last
what was the complaint that people said last year?
Because they didn't pay for every guest. So they said, oh, you know, my family's in town, oh, well, they have to pay, and they weren't happy.
Oh,
with
okay,
that.
got you.
Yeah, plus the fact it's hard sometimes if they come with 6, what are they gonna do with the other 2, you know?
Yeah.
Can we say no more than 4 guests, but.
You could do those, or you could do the extras like $10 each.
It was, if you have an ID, you can bring 4 guests, non-residents, you just have to pay $5 per guest.
And that's it.
Yeah, that was it.
What about
We
the
only did it for the spooky soiree, I think we should.
We need it for holiday, we need to start doing it, not the ones that have tables, where you pay for tables, but the ones that
Holiday fest.
What did you do if you had a person show up with 6 kids?
Well,
Over the age of 12.
over the age of 12, they only can bring 4 in with 1 ID.
And did you have a problem with that?
I didn't add them in, but I don't know, I do remember that was kind of what.
Yeah, it really does get tricky.
Well,
with
I mean,
that.
but then it's like bringing 2 IDs from your family and you can get all 6 kids in, if that's really what you want to do.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, leave it the way it is.
I don't remember that many kids anyway.
Leave it the way it is.
No, it was kids.
Yes.
from last year, false.
And then you can get them and you have to figure it out. Right, yeah.
So then, can we review potentially then in August, or maybe after this event for Holiday Fest? Because if we do it for one, we gotta do it for the other. Or you allow people to go in complimentary, and if they wanna use the inflatables and whatnot, they have to pay for a wristband or something, you know what I mean?
I think it's best to keep it the same,
Right.
just because then they'll be like, what are we doing with this event, are we doing that event? It's not like something that once you install it, it blows up, you know, it didn't blow up last year. It's just now people don't know what to expect. So I think we should keep it the same for Holiday Fest.
But we gotta post it, we gotta make sure it's in writing.
I think most residents would be okay. If I'm bringing people from out of town, I would expect $5 is pretty reasonable.
And that's why we're trying to add more offerings,
Yeah.
different entertainment styles to the mix here, so it's worth the $5.
And so IDs are only issued to children 12
Right, well, you could do like, I believe that, no, it's 12.
Now, what if you, because this happens a lot, what if you get the parents that are with the kids that you can clearly tell they're over the age of 12, but mom or dad is saying they're 10?
Then you have to, well, that's a great area, you're just gonna have to solution.
I'm still conflicted, very much conflicted that I'm coming to a Crow event that I pay my dues to, and I have 2 children with me, and I'm paying $10 for them.
If they're children, you're not paying for.
Well, then, how do you know the difference?
I mean, well, it's like going to a theme park when it's.
So you're not,
3 for
I'm
minute.
for my own children in at no charge.
If you say these are your kids and they're all under 12,
Well, you
we're gonna have to believe you.
But aren't they like us?
How do you know? Well, I know, but that, to me, that's a
That's a sticky situation. It's just like going to a theme park, if 3 and under kids get in for free. I know people that have 4 or 5-year-olds and say they're free. And the park has to believe them. They can't look up a birth certificate or anything. It's gonna cause issues. If they say they're under 12, we just have to abide by it. If they say it's their kid.
So if I'm a parent and I'm coming there and I'm bringing 4 children.
Yep.
Then we just all walk in.
Correct, yeah.
If I have 5, then I have to pay for the 5th.
As you a parent, as a resident or a guest?
I'm a parent, I'm a
you have 5,
no, I'm a resident.
As a resident, you bring all the kids,
Oh, yeah, I don't see.
right?
And there's,
Am I with you?
identify.
I think it's worth, we did it last year, I think it's worth, we'll see what the issues that pop up, but I don't know.
So basically, you're allowed, it still comes down to your one ID is allowed 4 people in, like I just read. It allows 4 people in, and if you have additional people, it's $5. So if I have 6 children, we all live in the same household, you don't pay anything.
No.
But you,
With your residents.
yeah,
Well,
no way.
Well, no, but not a lot of children. Not a lot of people have 6 children, and not a lot of people that do time around either. Yes.
Huh?
You gotta have 2 of these.
Right.
You're not old enough for 6 kids.
Right, so we just let anybody that comes in and says, these are my 10 children, I live on Long Meadow, in there all
You
along.
can't bring 10 unless you have 2 IDs.
Okay, so we are.
Yeah, it's still the 1-to-4 ratio. So a max is $20 per ID.
Can I throw one more thing to this? We did have kids come who admitted they didn't live in Celebration, but they had their school ID, and that was being used. I know, so.
Well, that's a no.
And I'm parents saying, well, we don't live here, but, my child goes to school here, so now, I know, so the whole thing is very.
So one ID, you're allowed 4, up to 4 guests, or 4 children, or whatever they are.
Resident.
No, not guests.
Okay, you're allowed,
I could handle it if it
Okay, so I think we should say 1-to-4, max of 4. If they're under 12, they go in free.
right,
If they're 13 and above, they gotta pay $5 each.
that's right.
Yep. And then we're gonna have a sheriff up front that will stay there, and then one that will, kind of rotate around throughout the event. So if there's any issues, we can have the sheriff kind of assist us.
Right.
Or to pre-advertise.
If we get in advance.
And have a sign out there too, so that we're not trying to explain the rules to people as they come through.
And once this is,
Follow the thing.
so if we could just do a motion and second, once this is finalized, I can't change it tomorrow. So once it goes in the magazine, we're stuck with it, so I just wanna make sure.
Can I just ask
Go ahead, Carla.
the front of the Sparkle Soiree, or not Sparkle Soiree, the Spooky Soiree last year? And I don't recall having really any problems. Most of the people had prepaid or paid on the spot. And when I came up with a problem, I diverted to Nikki and she took care of it. But whatever we did last year seemed to work relatively well. The only problem was we had a guest line and a non-guest line or something, and one line kept getting backed up. I just think if we had maybe more lines, it would have worked a little easier. But that's my only contribution. I thought it went pretty smoothly. And when it kind of seemed like a gray area, I threw it over to staff and they usually took care of it. Because I'm not staff. But that's all I got to contribute.
Yeah, I think having a non-guest line makes sense for them to pay with the other ones. Well, we don't have to give them wristbands though, do we? Or do we give wristbands?
I don't remember wristbanding people.
I can
Less stands for the.
Yeah, people. We
You
risked
did
it.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's how you get the attendance.
Even if you just hand them out and tell them to put them on, don't take time to put them on.
It started in August, that says you can pre-purchase your tickets on this website, you know what I mean? We can kind of advertise it early, to purchase tickets. For the guests.
And that's basically a wristband. How do you?
Yeah, how do they know who's paid for?
Because it was on the report, they printed out the report, they like matched it up.
Do that.
Kind of like, the system when it's for father-daughter dance, you know how they checked in the participants, so we knew who was checked in, who wasn't.
Okay, make a motion to follow the same procedure we used last year. 4 guests. Family and 4 guests, $5 charge. Over 4. Under 12, no fee. Amy second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We can talk about it more in detail too. All right, let's move on to the holiday fest.
All right, so this one is pretty flushed out. Advent Health has agreed to be a snow sponsor, so they are paying for the snow zone at the end. All of the inflatables are booked already. Something a little bit new that we were gonna go ahead and offer. This right here, I know it looks like champagne because it is, but it will not be what it is for Holiday Fest. The same cotton candy vendor, we pre-purchased 200 sticks of cotton candy. These also double as a cotton candy skirt, essentially. It does not touch her. The skirt is giant that comes out. The first 200 residents can get free cotton candy. Anybody after that, she'll be on site to sell cotton candy. The Jess's Lemonade has agreed to sell hot chocolate and the mocktail version of Coquito, so she will be on site. Slay and Free Daps have officially been booked, so they'll be on the main stage. They'll be doing 30 on, 30 off. Premier Catering is booked to sell under the Igloo. They did agree to create a snow ice themed cocktail and mocktail for us. So they'll be selling underneath the giant Igloo for this one. That's what I got. Questions, comments, suggestions?
Sounds good. That's really cool. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
So she just walks around with this?
Yeah.
Do they buy the cotton candy or is this?
So the first 200 will get it for free, so that way, we know that attendance at the beginning of these things lack a little bit. So this is like a little incentive on getting people to get there. Yeah, she walks around.
Okay, last time Sandy suggested keeping the food up front towards the performers.
Yep.
Also, okay, so we have a committee member that is going to be selling ice cream towards the back. That's fine, I just want to make sure that that is okay with management and board. Just want that to say it is approved that a committee member can sell.
Yes, so we do have a vendor fee of $150. So that has been made very clear.
Okay.
So yes, it's all good.
Anybody, I don't want anyone to have a comment there. Okay, perfect. Anybody else have anything on that? I think we covered that big time last time.
So vendor fee, is that what it is for food truck Fridays too?
Well, so for the food trucks, they don't pay us, they pay the vendor, Cat's food trucks.
So,
When it comes to the actual like vendors that are there, they do $150 for the tent, for like, if you're talking about, Renewal by Anderson, they pay the vendor fees.
for the people with trucks, they're paying,
They pay Cat and then Cat pays us. I do not know what that number is, but I can say, when I chatted with one of them, it does align with what we are also charging. Make sure of that.
And did you say you got a sponsor for the snowfall?
We do have an health.
Cool. And what exactly is that again?
So they're gonna bring the snow machines, and so Advent Health will get to actually be on site to do the first ever start of the snowfall moment. We're gonna have all of the inflatables in the back and the lights, and then also this is another one where X Factor will be doing a little performance for us too, to fill in those kind of gaps as well.
Okay, and, okay, anybody else have anything? Okay, can I jump back? I forgot to ask you. Jump back to the sorry. And I just want to make sure I got this right. She asked me about, I don't believe we have a vendor selling wine or beer or anything like that for the spooky soiree. People could bring and sit on the lawn, but we are not selling anything. Does everybody remember, is that correct? Spooky soiree with the children and the pumpkins and the Halloween and the sleigh. I don't recall, and I did not see it in my notes, I just want to make sure that when you get there, you say, where can I get a glass of wine? And you can't, because we didn't have anything.
I don't know.
Look back in my notes. I did not see anything. I don't think we didn't, because I didn't think in the past we did, because it was, more or less a kids event. But I don't know if we had the tap truck. That was the only one that came to my mind, that we had the tap truck.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. There was the tap truck.
So after I told you that, I could see it right there by the thing, and I was like thinking, I don't know if they did.
It's like it leaked because it smelled.
Oh, that's right, the beer smell is very strong.
So, I just want to make sure, I mean, like I said, after I said that,
Yeah.
and I was like, I keep thinking of the tap truck. But then I don't know. So what do you all think?
I think adults like to have a beer or a glass of wine even when they're walking around with their kids.
And we're trying to separate, so the Great Lawn's more of like the 80s, like a rock concert. So like the adults could be over there, the kids have their own zone with additional activities, but we would only like maybe leave it over there. Whether we just tell people you can't consume the alcohol down where the kid zone is, like maybe we can.
Was it a Premier or tap truck or something like that then?
I don't know if tap truck was the best option, only because it did get, like, the smell just like took up the whole road.
Well, Premier's been fantastic.
Premier's great.
Is that who did the 4th of July?
Yes.
They were very.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because we needed to give them some business. Yeah. But we need it visible there, not, visible right there, so they can come in and, yeah. All right, I think, do we need to vote on that? Let's vote on it. We're going to, is everyone all in favor for Premier on Spooky Soiree? Everyone?
Yeah.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, good, all right. And then there was one other thing. Oh, yes, that was the other thing, that I read it, and you said, yeah, I read that too, Allison. Spooky Soiree, the lighting, when they did the costume contest, was dark and you couldn't see them. So we want to figure out a way to light up that stage, or at least that. I don't know what the sleigh, or what the people or what they have. And then we also said we wanted to put a big X on the stage. Those were the two things I thought. So we need to think about that. And
Yeah, I did get the lighting and the sound package, so I will confirm with them exactly, making sure it's the bright stuff.
Okay.
And then, yeah, we can take care of putting that little X marks the spot there.
All right, we're going on to anybody else for anything there? Okay, we're gonna go on to the anniversary updates.
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first.
So some updates for the anniversary stuff. The first round of the logo was shared. We had a few edits for it, so that is why we're not bringing it to you yet, because it is not finalized just yet. But I want to start thinking about I know we've got a little ways away, but like the new things that we want to start adding into Pops and Pints specifically, because that's our first thing in January. So what are some things that we can start adding into that to get our 30/30 started with the new and improved, like, do we want to do pup cups this year? Maybe we charge $1 for a pup cup and, you know, we get those out. If we want to do, and I know we always do the character artists, but there's an option to do like the dogs on like a coaster instead of a piece of paper, like changing it up in that sense, so it's not copy paste. But just wanted to hear some thoughts to get that started.
Character.
Yeah.
I like the idea of putting it on something different.
Because the coaster you can use all the time, display it all the time, how many pictures of your
What
pet.
about another type of event, you know, some of these other dog shows, they have like, I don't know, herding dogs, you know, kind of little shows that the dogs do, jumping in pools.
Agility,
Yeah, that's like, of some sort, people
You
love
mean
it. Yeah, and I've seen it at other dog shows where they have like a little exhibit where people are showing their dogs, and, you know, the vendor.
Yeah, we went to Bark in the Park, Paws in the Park, and we saw this like water agility course that we got their information, we wanted to bring them. We also found a zone where it's like fenced in, and then you could pay like $10 for 5 minutes to let your dog run inside
You
there.
had brought to our attention
Yeah.
with the
I
rope
said
thing.
if we,
It's like cable
to buy one, and then everybody that participates gets a ticket, and then at the end you pull the ticket, and that person gets to take it home. It's the coolest, you're right.
It is really cool
It
to
is.
watch too.
It's like a tail or something, or a feather, it goes around.
And I wonder if that zone between the pool and the tennis court would be a big enough spot for it, because we've got this
Because
gated.
as soon as somebody runs that thing,
There's some with a remote going back and forth.
it is my highlights. And
Yeah.
then I said, like, I'd like to buy it, and then let people take a chance on winning it at the end, and you get to take it home. I think people would definitely go 10 times probably.
Would you charge people to do it each time you charge them?
You can't, you don't have
Because I
to.
think I don't know how much that
It
runs
was
for,
like-
but
I think it was $10 to
It depended on the
do 5
pounds.
minutes. Yeah, the pounds, but you wouldn't do more than like 5 minutes,
Yeah.
because there's over like 60 dogs, that's like a whole
that
lot.
was a popular thing that they had there.
Super popular.
Yeah, we probably need to charge them.
Yeah, to at least pay for it if they're gonna take it home.
Also, for a pop-up thing, 1 year prior to Pups and Pints, we had on the Great Lawn, the evening before, we had an event called, what was it called? It was like, biscuits and brownies. It was biscuits and brownies, what do you call something else? And people loved it. They brought their dogs out and you'd have, we had lemonade, but we could do something else. It could be like, another dog brews and whatever, I don't know. But anyway, for one of your 30, could be, it doesn't cost a lot because people got kind of the Great Lawn and they brought their dogs. Now, this is before we had a dog park too, so I don't know, maybe not. Okay.
Is the dog park going to partner with us on anything? 'Cause I think last year Paul was coming to some of the meetings,
Yeah.
talking about something.
I know.
He's leaving, so I don't know who the dog park person is now.
Yeah, they have a meeting on Monday, so I'll schedule a meeting with them in August, so we can kind of get ahead of it. Our goal is to present everything, we would love to finalize Pups and Pints by at least September. I want everything voted on by September, so it's good to go in the magazine. We can showcase it with the Experience Kissimmee grants. So we would like to get ahead of the.
For this year, next year.
Pubs and, or January of this next
So
year.
that is different next
Yeah,
year.
so just, if you guys have any ideas, we would just love to finalize it by September. So feel free to bring it to the committee next month, as well as, September.
Also, are we still on 2026 anniversary then? So it is also our 250th anniversary on the 4th of July. Our national anniversary. So it's not only our anniversary, it's the 205th anniversary. And I read somewhere that people are already starting to not just do it on the 4th of July, that they're starting Memorial Day. And, as part of this celebration, of the 250th celebration. So I was also thinking that perhaps, again, for your 30/30, this was one that I stole this. It's red, white, and blue. Now, they called it a bar crawl, but I was thinking if we could do something like red, white, and blue and have our company come out, the company in town come out, and we do perhaps a country band, because we haven't had one for a long time. And, call it something, it doesn't have to be this, but do it prior to the 4th of July, since they said that it's kind of like a year long, well, they're already starting, they had, on the TV, they were holding up the signs, 250, USA 250.
Yeah, the Daughters of the American Revolution, were telling us when they installed that, monument at Founders Park, Memorial Weekend, or right before Memorial Weekend. We'll talk with the representatives of Daughters, DAR, because they were mentioning the 250, and see if maybe we can partner with them.
Right.
With doing events.
But for next year, again, for our budget, it's our anniversary, it's the 250th anniversary, so, we need to make sure that we have, funds available for all this, because people are gonna want it. Regardless, people are gonna want this 250th celebration, whether it's the fireworks or whether it's like little events like this, country bands, red, white, and blue, another one, this one weekend, which I'll get to next, they had, red, white, and boom.
That could be part of your conference in the park next year.
Yeah, so, no, that's what I'm saying, this should be custom park, you can have it almost any time, but prior to the 4th of July. But this part is the 250th plus our anniversary.
I was talking to Jacob and Lauren, there's gonna be funds from like Canoa and all of that, that we can utilize to do events. So maybe we can do some of these events with the Canoa funds that we have, so it's not long any.
But, so keep thinking of different things for the 2026 anniversary and 250th, 4th of July celebration flag activities. Okay? Anybody else have anything else? Okay. All right, moving on to the review of the drone show. Before you get to your big thing, there's lots of fun things in there. So yes, I was on assignment this week. I went to the 100th anniversary in Deerfield Beach, saw there, they did an all drone show on 4th of July. So it had kind of mixed messages, but, but they did actually have fireworks, drones that were making like the fireworks. It was really cool. But they did the same thing, the flag and it. But there is some negative to it. They did it over the ocean, over the water. And unfortunately, depending on where you were, some people couldn't quite see it. So it depends, because it has to be pretty much straight on. So I'm not sure where I think theirs took off from the beach and so they had it in a certain location. And then one thing is, with learning and all this is it depends on how many you have. Some, of course, are better than others, and it all depends on the number of drones. So this is pre-you. Okay, drone shows usually last between 10 and 15 minutes, but in the future, so this guy did a little video on it, said that they hope that they last longer. The advantages of drones are fireworks, sound. You can add quieter, so for kids and people that are sensitive to sound. You can add advertisements, you can spell out different people's names, sponsors, and so on and so forth. Less pollution, whatever. They did say that the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission said that fireworks, there's been 11 deaths and 15,000 injuries, whereas since 2015, there's been 4,200 drone injuries, but most of them are malfunctions or negligence of the operator to himself. And that 90% of drone-related injuries were treated by people that were treated and released. Some before the July switched to all drones, but it wasn't really as popular as in the city of Columbus, Ohio, where they had a mixed fireworks and drone show. They had the drones first for about 10 minutes. They had 30 seconds to clear the way, and then they had their firework display, which it sounds like that's what most people liked. So that was it. So I mean, it's a mixed bag. So, but it is becoming more and more popular, and the number of people who had drone shows for the 4th of July, there was a big increase. So, yes. Now take it away, Alex.
We actually did a site walk with this company. They came out just to even see if it was possible for us to do one. And there are a few kickers that I think we might have a little issue with. Because I think July 4th, we were gonna just keep fireworks, but for the Founder's Day is where I believe we were gonna possibly switch. Now, the only area that is the most ideal to them is because all the drones need a landing space. They need to be able to program the coordinates from that specific space where they leave, and then they place right back. And that area is the Great Lawn, which means there cannot be a resident viewing area because that whole park will be closed to the drones. So that's a big kicker.
Say that one more time.
The only area the drones are close enough for them to program to do the show over Lake Reinhardt is the Great Lawn, which means that cannot be a resident viewing area. We can't do anything over there. Now, on the alternative though, they did say that they do a technical rehearsal to make sure we like it, to make sure they don't have to adjust any heights on anything, which they could do the day before, and that could be a resident only kind of thing where they see it before everybody else, but again, it still has to come and go from the Great Lawn, so that's not where they would be able to see it from, but it can be kind of a...
Well, we've had other events in town, we didn't use the Great Lawn, so it's fine.
We assume that they can't do it in these fields because it's under the highway?
They have to be 400 feet away for safety reasons, so that's why we were trying to do it over the water, because he measured it, and it was 400 feet away from the downtown area.
Well, we've had a lot of shows where we staged everything on the bricks and, right there in front, so you got that straightaway view, so you could do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were thinking we could do like the tables, like what we did for the 25th, of having reserved tables.
Cool. Did they get one?
Yeah. They were just showing us what the difference between the 300 and the 500 drones would be. So they listed out all the different price points. I will say it is cheaper than fireworks, which is kind of nice. But obviously the higher up that you go, so for 500 is $30,000.
How long is that?
Between 12 to 14 minutes.
Well, and like I said, if we could get them to get a sponsor who wants to, or a
sponsors that you use, that's what we were thinking, it's, we wanted to make sure we go big or go home. So that's why we want to do the 500, it looks a little bit more presentable than the 300 drones. And then that we could possibly work with sponsorship packets where it's like, there's 3 different levels. So you would only get like 100 drones for this amount, like 300 for this one, 500 for that one. And we think that with the businesses in town, if they had their logo in the air mixed with some landmarks of celebration, we think that we can easily get this paid off just from sponsorship.
And this is just one company. Since it is that in that price tier, we will have to get 2 additional bids from 2 other companies.
I'm very impressed.
You can touch the vendors to see, put your logo in the sky for $500.
Yeah.
Bring like 20 vendors.
You could have one soccer team come
Oh,
together.
we didn't.
They,
So is that 12
Carla, I
minutes?
wish you could see the picture. Can you
yeah,
see the picture?
I saw the pictures, but what I'm about closing the Great Lawn for the 25th, we closed Market Street and all the residents were sitting on Market Street. So the lawn wouldn't really make a difference. Like we had a section that was for residents only on Market Street with tables and chairs for the 25th.
And we probably might have to, I'm not sure, we might have to sell tables, reserve tables, and then we can have open seating in the back. But based on, like I said, the feedback that I saw this weekend said, you can't, you have to be parallel, you can't be perpendicular to the thing, because then you can't see them. So over the water and back there where it's black and dense, you could do that. And then, because you'd almost have to have it at a certain point. But when we could put the tables on, is that Front Street? Front Street, we did it on Brooks and Front Street. We had the big banquet tables out there. So you're right, Carla.
We had-
You couldn't see them from over there anyhow, I don't think.
Yeah,
If you did.
I don't know. I was on Market Street at a table, but it was great. I mean, we could keep the fireworks straight on and, you know, it was nice that the residents had authority.
Right. Well, like I said, we could sell the tables and, since we have a lot of them, I'm very impressed with what you guys come up with.
How long would they say the drone show would be?
About 12 to 14 minutes, and Dory, that was our concern is, if you see it from a different angle, like, I can see the drone from Columbia, but that's not gonna make a logo, that's gonna look weird. So we were thinking, what if we tried to work with a laser company? So it's kind of like, I've caught with illuminations, you know, you got other stuff going on, so no matter what angle you're seeing this show, you're at least experiencing something.
Yeah, you have to, I didn't read on that, but people did the smoke, I think it was the smoke and not bubbles, the smoke and laser. Yeah. Stuff, and it was pretty cool. I probably have to ask them, because one thing is that they couldn't do the fireworks and then the drone. It had to be the drone and then the fireworks, because of the smoke got in the way or something like that.
And that's why we wanted to just focus fireworks on July 4th and do kind of, unfortunately, I don't think we could do a water show, but a laser show or something with the drones, so it's different for founders.
Yeah, I think it's great. And the thing is that we could go out there and stage the tables and the seating, that we would place it strategically so that you're not in front of a tree, you know, basically.
Of course, no.
We could really work it to where the day before, when they come to do their technical rehearsal, that's when we can be out there setting it up to make sure it's actually gonna align.
But they had said, if you're sitting on, I guess it's Market Street, you'll still be able to see them all the way over to the lake.
He said you could see them up to 3 to 5 miles away. There was a distance that you could see them. But my concern would also be like if we have a stage, I don't want people up front trying to look and they can't see and they have their table reserved. So if this is something you all are interested in, like Allison said, we have to look at 2 additional companies. before we could move forward. We just wanted to show you at least one, what we can do. And why these other companies come on board, we can kind of talk about where we would like to stage or place tables. The one thing, I know you have a quick question, if you ask, well, why can't we put the drones around the lake? That was the first question we asked, why can't we set it up like the fireworks? It's the angle that's an issue. He said we can land a drone on an angle, but it has to be 15 by 15.
Yeah, but you're saying that's their staging, they come up and then
They come up
right.
about 200 feet and then they go over, and then they go up to 400 feet in the air.
The drone show at Disney Springs that they did only for a short period of time, it was very weather dependent. You could either a perfectly wonderful night and then all of a sudden they have 2 minutes before it will start, they cancel it.
Yeah, the wind is
That might be an
not
issue,
right.
not just one particular, I mean, this was, they were doing it every night.
Mhm.
If we're only trying to do it one night and there's too big a breeze or a little.
Is it their
little fog,
cancellation?
might be.
Is it their cancellation?
It would be on them, but it's up to us, because they'll reschedule when, like, whatever we ask.
Well, we did schedule it for Friday and it wouldn't work, will they come back?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Alright. Also, I saw like 8 different shows from where I was standing, and the drone show was at least 2 miles away. And it was fantastic.
This particular company also, they'll do like an all-inclusive in a way where it's like if we asked them if they did the lasers with them, they did say yes, that they would essentially be the ones bringing in to work with them, but their creative team works very closely with us to make sure the story that we want told comes.
So they do the lasers too.
That's, yeah, so they would bring in those additional, obviously that's gonna cost more. This is strictly just a drone, but with this company specifically, at least, it would be like, they would handle pretty much what we asked for. I already reached out to one other, so I'm just waiting to hear that, and then we'll move to the next.
I think that's so good. Comment?
12 minutes, and then you can do advertising. Does that advertising flight time included, or is it added to the 12 minutes?
The show as a whole would be the 12 to 14
Yeah,
minutes.
so that's.
And the
that's what I was
advertising
thinking.
cut into the,
Yeah, advertising, that's, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the lower level, you would have like maybe 3 different sponsors on the same one, you know what I mean? We would have only a specific number of folks we can advertise, and then the final one that wants to be the presenting sponsor would get all the drones, all 5, you know, that's cool, so.
Sounds wonderful. That's good. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you, that's good, keep us posted. Good job. Nice work on that. Okay. You wanted to, your father-daughter, you want to, put on, for the next time, Pups and Pints, and then we went to
Yeah.
that, and then, okay, and then just to FYI, everybody start thinking about coming up with a full schedule or plan that, like we said, if we want to do something a little bit outside the box, because it's whatever, if we want to work with the dog park committee, and see if we want to do something like the week before that, I think that sounds like that, if they want to do something, or whatever, but kind of do it with the Pups and Pints the same week, like on a Wednesday, whether they want to have whatever, but we'll talk to them about that too. Okay. So go on to the father-daughter dance. Yes, it's gonna be hard for me. Nikki didn't know about moving either, you know?
Oh, yeah,
Fancy. Very nice.
So, but what we had is review themes. We wanted to start early, again, with the themes, so that way we can try to present to you all, at least by September, October, different bands or performers that we could have for father-daughter. But we wanted to start with a theme now, so we can get started early, because once the fall kicks in, it gets too hectic with the events. So that's why we just wanted to just throw that out right now. If you all had a theme where it's, I really wish we did this.
Can I ask you, if, are we looking into doing a band? Because if we are we going to do a 2-night thing? It's going to do no lights this year and something different.
I forgot, but yes, thank you for bringing that up. So I did get the quote from that one company on doing the string lights like we want. However, because we were talking about the drones, we put a halt on it because we can't have those lights there for like this year.
That's what Landon told me.
Yeah. But if the lighting on the lawn is something you wanted to look into for the next, we can't have those lights strung in that sense for the drone show specifically because of the lighting.
Yeah, but that's not till November.
Right, but we were talking about doing like the lights and turf thing for the end of the season.
But potentially like installing permanent lights at Lakeside where they go across like the father-daughter lights. That's what we were looking into. But if we installed them like early this or 2026, and then we decide we want to do a drone show, we can't place the drones.
Okay, so if we decide not to do I mean, 2026, we're gonna have to be very busy to be able to put in lighting and new sod or whatever. So I'm saying father-daughter's in February. So if we wanted to do I'm just saying, I just want to get people's thoughts on if we wanted to do the lights. We could still do it in February, and if you want to do something the rest of the year, so be it, but if we were to do the lights that we had last year, I'm not saying we have to, but if we were, we could do them in February, and then anything else comes after the fact. But not put new lights, not put turf or anything.
Oh, you just mean like the ones.
Temporary.
Yeah. I thought you were just talking about the lights, the permanent ones.
No, I'm just finding out, do you want to do the same thing again or not, basically? And the thing is do you want, or do you, and if so, is it gonna be a 2-night thing, or just the 1 night? Do you want to do the lights again for the 3rd year, or do you want to come up with something different? We don't have a whole lot of place to have it, so it probably have to be here or there.
Also, based off the theme that you decide to.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of it depends on the theme. It's like, to me, we're putting the cart before the horse, we're saying, do we need the lights? It's like, what's the theme going to be? Is it?
Well, that or do it the other way around. If we have the lights, what would the theme be too?
Well, we did the father-daughter dance here once for the 10th, which was really nice.
And we can't afford it. It's
Why
13,000.
don't we do it that 1 year?
The 1 year we had got the funds for it. The second year we did it with the foundation. We shared it. It was like $13,000 to $17,000 just for the tent.
There's nothing else we can share it with?
No, I don't.
No?
Well, I think the way we offset the lights last year was by having that other event the night before. You know, we said we wanted to have it.
It's just, do you want to do it again, or are we overdoing it? I just don't, we just don't have it. And we don't like going off cloud. So we could do it there without the lights, or we could do something different type of lights. We could do, these big, lights, like these stage type, similar to the thing we were talking about for walkthrough. Because if, in my mind, if we did the lights, then I would start my theme. But if we, based on that, if we want to do a different thing, then it doesn't really matter.
But we haven't mentioned all the themes, so you have an idea of what we've already done.
So back to 2016, we've done Gatsby, we've done Hollywood, Evening in Paris, Under the Sea, Saturday Night Fever Disco, A Western Hoedown, Flower Power, Denim and Diamonds, An Enchanted Evening, and then the Taylor Swift Macaron. And that's not to say, back what we did in Gatsby in 2016, those kids are not here anymore, so it's not that you can't repeat. That's up to you if whether you want to and build on or expand on what you've done before, change it up in any way, or do something completely different.
Didn't we talk last year about having one that's like elegant and one that it's like you're dressed in character, so like.
We've never done a circus theme.
Kind of fun, but like.
No, I think
But,
that would
yeah.
be fun.
I remember someone said it last year where it's like, you dress up like, where it's like flower power, and then the next year was an elegant one. And then the following year, like, we kind of rotated. But no, that would be cool, like,
That
not a
would-
circus like a red tent, it would be more like Cirque du Soleil, like kind of like the performance is that way in a way.
Well, we have to keep in mind, what entertains them, as you could see, what entertained them was this tribute band, and they were all hung by the stage. It's like, what can we provide that they would, and they dance with their dads, because it's a father-daughter dance. So what could you provide, what could we provide that would, in which they would do things with their dads, and then at the same time be entertained. Most of the time, they were not in their seats, and they were at the stage, or on the dance floor, right? And so, I mean, how do we entertain that, that was just so lucky.
And so I don't have the girl that age, my daughter's a lot older. So I don't really know I know Taylor Swift's popular, but I don't know what other kinds of media, like if there's, some type of movies or stuffed animals, like I don't know what their thing is, so I think
There seemed to be, the age thing, it seemed to be between 8 and 12, 13, 8 and 12. Yeah, so with what you're saying, it has to be sort of in the, we had some little younger ones, a few older ones, but something that, well, if we could, do we need time to think on this?
I do. But do they like those BTO type of?
BTS. That's very popular too.
What's like the whole anime?
BTS, or K-pop, it's like Korean.
K-pop, anime. I don't know, I just.
That is popular.
Yeah.
K-pop is very
I didn't even know
popular.
what that was.
Well, I just, I saw some dance coming back.
I mean,
Kids like that.
that is true. That is true. So
If
what-
anybody knows like anybody that always attends the father-daughter dance, maybe like get some feedback that way and just say what's something you think your daughter would like
Yeah.
to see us do here.
I think we need to gather a little bit more
Mhm.
information.
It was mostly put on here just to at least
Yeah.
start thinking about it.
K-pop is the fever right now.
K-pop is the favorite.
I don't know K-pop.
What is this?
K-pop, Korean.
Korean,
Yeah.
boy band, there's.
They have it's one of the biggest events that happens in Orlando. The K-pop or anime.
And have you ever done that? Road.
I know.
But,
I know because
we can do
my
the
daughter
food.
loves it.
What time is it? Last I saw some dancing vampires.
Oh, yeah, they're coming out with the zombies, yeah.
What year did we start doing father-daughter? Like, was it when celebration for like, can we tie in 30th something?
Stray Kids dance.
Did you do a sock hop? Fashion sock hop?
Yeah, but what was I doing?
Poodle skirts and all? I probably would be interested.
My daughter-in-law did a picture for my daughter with that, whatever you're talking about, and had it, you put her picture and then the picture, and then it came out like her picture, and then it was
In the anime cartoon.
It was adorable. I mean, it'd be so cool if we could do something.
Well, like Sailor Moon was big when my daughter was young, because she was really into that, but this next generation, they have those Sailor Moon kind of characters, I just don't know who they are. There's all kinds of distortions on small, and that's those, Japanese type of stuffed animals, they're very popular.
Well, I think that sounds like a very interesting.
You know what's popular?
Labubu's. Yeah.
It's
that's
They are all the rage
Can
right
you
now.
show us a picture?
What is that? I don't even know.
They are. You'll be like,
But it's in
why?
that same theme of.
It is.
you know,
It
yeah.
is.
30 years.
Oh, I didn't know what you're talking about. Yeah, those are scary.
These things, right?
Yes.
They are very popular.
They're like
It's like the reading aids of this generation.
Yeah.
So,
And we thought troll dolls were scary, that's way worse.
I love reading babies, I watch this.
It's like, daughter-in-law,
Yeah, that's the other thing.
for me.
It's just a thought, I think new ideas like that.
Mhm.
Maybe talk to some 12-year-olds.
But if you just put it the picture in their picture, and
Let's say,
it's so cute. But those are great ideas, so, and then we just have to figure out if we do the lights with that. We need lights out there. Do we do another event prior to with the heaters, maybe? You know, because it is the 30th, and it is,
Probably a good time to take advantage of.
and that would be, we can, maybe we could broaden that as saying, part of the 30th, and have somehow the evening for the residents, something that would be, what did we say, why did we say that, what would we do different from that performer? We had talked about, not making it, I think you might have said that, Nick, not making it, just adults, opening it up, right, to any kid.
I mean, you can open it up, you can also say, the first 250, 300 people get this, like a limited edition item.
Right.
We can always do that with the logo. That's something that, I know it's not on here, but like obviously for the holiday concert, to get people to buy a table, I was thinking that we get limited edition like snow globes, and they're included with your table. So it's like, like those tables would go because you can only get that snow globe. You know what I mean? So something like that, where we can have tables, sell tables, and it's like, hey, it's this performer, or they do like a duel on pianos or something family friendly. But if you buy a table in advance, you get this, you know.
I love that idea. I love that idea. And we need to advertise it more, but even if we get a picture somehow posted somewhere of what it looks like. Yeah, it's really cool. I love going with the snow theme, the snow globe theme. The snow theme for that. And maybe it will end up being next time. All right, that sounds great. Well, so everybody will think on that for next time. Excellent meeting. I cannot believe, I thought we were gonna be early. Excellent meeting. Does anybody have any, meeting, any comments? Anybody have any comments?
Just go back to the very beginning of the meeting. I'm realizing the date on the minutes and on the agenda for last month's meeting is June 20th. That doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah.
I think didn't we move it or something?
June 20th, it was guaranteed Friday.
June 20th is Friday.
Right, exactly. Here. So we're okay the minutes, but I'm just, do we have any more hours date?
It was supposed to be the 10th.
It's a 10.
It should say 10.
Okay, we'll go 10.
Well, very good. You get a
Good call, Sandy.
Okay. I'm sorry.
You get a big star. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody from our galleries anywhere?
So we're back in the time for
Thank you for being here, our resident guest. And thank you, thank you, Marco, for being here. And we appreciate your guidance. And big team over there, and Nikki, good job. Great work. Very nice.